Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is not True Crime Tuesday yet, but I really wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. Today, we will be talking about the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German, also known as the Delphi murders, because finally an arrest was made after almost 6 years. Now, having that said, let's go ahead and start talking about this case. Alright, so this story takes place in Delphi, Indiana, which is described to be a safe and ideal place to live in as it had a tight-knit community paired with a very low crime rate. Delphi is quite a small town with a population of less than 3,000 people and is said to be a great area to raise kids in and build a family. However, all of this changed on February 14th, 2017, when the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German were found at the Monon High Bridge Trail. But before we get into that, let's talk about who these amazing girls were. So Abigail Williams was a shy and quiet 13-year-old girl who was best friends with Liberty German, a 14-year-old who was the complete opposite as she was extremely friendly and outgoing. Now, despite having contrasting personalities, these two got along great and had a lot of things in common. They had the same interests and hobbies and would often always do these things together. They were the best of friends and were basically inseparable. And they also kept a close relationship with each other's families. Now, these girls attended the same middle school, they were on the same softball team, and were both preparing to join the school's volleyball team as well. And aside from this, they also loved art and photography and enjoyed creating things together. On February 13th, 2017, the girls had a day off from school, and this was actually a Monday, meaning the girls had a long weekend to themselves. Abby went to Libby's house the day prior and spent the night there along with Libby's older sister Kelsey and some of her friends. The girls spent their night watching movies and painting, and the morning after, they all had breakfast together. Libby then asked her sister Kelsey if she could take her and Abby to the High Bridge Trail, and she agreed, dropping the girls off at approximately 1:35 p.m. Now, this was an area frequented by the locals for its beauty. People in the community would often hike along this trail and take photos with the scenic view. The girls wanted to go there that day specifically to enjoy a quiet, peaceful afternoon and to take photos for Snapchat. They had planned on staying there for only a few hours and were going to be picked up by Libby's dad at 3:30 p.m. However, 3:30 rolls around and Abby and Libby were nowhere to be found. None of them were also picking up their phones. Kelsey, Libby's older sister, left work early to try and help her dad look for the girls. However, this area was huge, and before sundown, they decided to report the girls as missing. A search party with the authorities, along with some volunteers from the community, started immediately. However, this was called off by midnight due to the dangerous terrain in the area. Now, for some reason, police didn't see this as an urgent matter because according to them, they didn't suspect any foul play at all, which just angers me. They were kind of insinuating that the girls have probably decided to run off on their own and go someplace else without permission. Sort of like a runaway case. Now, the next morning, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, the search party resumed and volunteers were coming in from different towns and even other states. There were so many volunteers that they were actually divided into multiple groups. And sadly, only a few hours into the search, the lifeless bodies of Abby Williams and Liberty German were discovered only half a mile from the bridge. They were found at the edge of a private property line. Their belongings were also found near their bodies and were taken in as evidence. And this included their cell phones, which would later be key in this investigation. Now, understandably, the entire community was mortified upon hearing this news. They had known their town to be a safe place, but was there a murderer living amongst them? Investigation soon started, and it was then revealed that at 2:07 p.m., Libby posted a Snapchat photo of Abby walking along the high bridge. Around the same time, Libby also took and saved a video of a man walking behind them. And this man can be heard saying, "Guys, up the hill." Now, of course, this was huge for the investigation. It's highly likely that this was the perpetrator. Abby and Libby were both known to be true crime enthusiasts, just like you and me, and it seemed like they had a bad feeling about this man from the get-go and was trying to collect evidence just in case something happened. In a way, and quite eerily, these girls seemed to have a hunch of what was about to take place. Now, having a video footage of a possible suspect would have made things easier for the investigators. However, this man was looking down the entire time. He was also wearing a hat, plus the video quality wasn't that good. But there were people around the trail at that time, and these witnesses were able to describe a man that they had seen near the high bridge for an artist's sketch. Now, the sketch along with the screen cap of the man on the video were made publicized, but police assured whoever this was that he wasn't a person of interest and they just wanted to talk to him. Now, I'm not sure if this really was the case or if they only said this to make this man come forward. However, the same mystery man was deemed as the main suspect just a few days later when an audio recording of the girls talking about a man following them was found by the police. Autopsies were then conducted, and although these are sealed documents and no official cause of death was ever disclosed, the authorities did confirm that this was a double homicide case and that the girls did not die of natural or accidental causes. So yes, foul play was definitely involved. Multiple vigils were held, and this was attended by people not just from the Delphi community, but also by people from different parts of the country. Support for Abby and Libby's schoolmates were also provided by the local government units and the school. Now, let's talk about the persons of interest on this case. Starting off with a man named Daniel Nations, who was a registered sex offender. This guy became a person of interest as he had a history of threatening people on train tracks. I am not completely sure if these threats were made in the exact same tracks that Abby and Libby went to. However, upon further investigation, this guy was completely ruled out by the police by February 2018. Now, the next person of interest was a man named Charles Elridge, and he was caught up in all of this because he looked very similar to the guy in the artist's sketch. Authorities questioned and looked into this guy but found no evidence linking him to the crime. He was also ruled out. The third person of interest is a pastor named Thomas Bruce who had multiple sexual assault charges filed against him. He also had a very similar build or stature to the man in the video. Aside from this, he also wore very similar clothing to the guy. But again, there was nothing linking him to the girls, therefore he was also ruled out. It was then also revealed that the last person Libby German came in contact with on Snapchat was a teenage boy under the username Anthony_shots. And once police looked into this Anthony dude, they later discovered that this was no teenage boy. This was actually a grown-ass man named Klein Keegan who used fake photos and fake names to talk to and groom multiple underage girls like Libby. This guy was arrested and put into custody as he was charged with 30 counts of child pornography. 30 counts. He also admitted to being the guy behind the Anthony_shots account and being in contact with Libby German, but completely denied having anything to do with Abby and Libby's murders. According to him, he was not involved in this crime in any way, shape, or form, and that he did not meet up with the girls on that day. However, he still remains in prison for the child pornography charges. The police held a press conference saying that they would not give up on this and will not allow the case to go cold. They also stated that they knew that the killer was hiding in plain sight, and that they could have probably interviewed the guy already. Now, fast forward to 2022, just a few weeks ago, the authorities made an announcement that they finally made an arrest in relation to this case after almost 6 years. They arrested a 50-year-old man named Richard Allen. And remember when the police said that they knew this guy was hiding in plain sight? They were completely right all along. This man was well known to the community as he worked in their local CVS, the only pharmacy in Delphi. This means that he had interacted with almost the entire town. It was also revealed that at some point, one of Libby's relatives had a photo of her printed out for the funeral, and Richard Allen was the one to do this. He reportedly did not charge this relative in an act of kindness because of what their family had to go through. They had to go through that because of you, Richard. Richard Allen is now in custody. However, people are not releasing too many details to avoid compromising the case that they have been building for the past 5 years. A lot of information and evidence are being held from the public as these will be later used for the trial. As of now, the authorities are still looking for another guy because they believe that Richard Allen did not act alone and in fact had an accomplice in committing this crime. They have not released any information on who this guy might be, but people on the internet do believe that Keegan Kline does have a connection to this case and to Richard Allen. This is not confirmed by investigators, but I did read a few posts and articles saying that Richard Allen and Kline Keegan knew each other because they were neighbors in Peru. Some sources also say that these two are actually blood-related and are cousins. There are also claims saying that although Kline Keegan created the Anthony_shots Snapchat, there is alleged proof that Richard Allen also had access to this account. And if this is true, that would be very incriminating for the both of them. Again, I am not stating these as facts. I am simply sharing with you some of the things and speculations that I have read. But that is all that I have for you guys for today's video. Just like everyone else, I am still waiting for more details about this arrest to be released. And should there be any updates, I'm going to post that on the pinned comment in the comment section below, and we'll probably create an update video should more details come into light. Now, this is a very, very sad case because these girls had so much things to do in life. They had so much ahead of them. They obviously had this potential to do wonderful things in life, and sadly, that was taken away from them too early. Now, however, I am glad that this case is finally starting to be solved, and whoever did this will be put to justice very soon. I did watch an interview of Libby's grandmother saying that they thought that they would all be jumping for joy and shouting, but that wasn't the case at all. They are very shocked and still very, very saddened about this, and that they just don't know how or what to feel right now. So all we can do right now is to pray for their families and hope that this case is put to justice finally. That is all that I have for you guys for today's video. As usual, I would love to hear your thoughts on this case, and should there be any other case that you would like for me to discover? Please let me know by leaving a comment down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys on my next video.